Well, you can always rely, of course, on Jacob Rees-Mogg rattling a few cages, and he certainly has with his declaration, with his endorsement in terms of the Conservative leadership race. I believe he's the first cabinet minister who's come out in what is going to, of course, be a very short leadership election now. The first cabinet minister to come out and endorse a candidate. None of the candidates yet, at time of recording, had even formally announced they are standing. But Stephen Swinford reporting here that most members of the European Research Group, the Brexiteer MPs, expected to back Boris Johnson. So in that backdrop, and with it looking like it's going to be Boris, Sunak or Mordaunt, perhaps no surprise then to see Jacob Rees-Mogg come out, endorsement that he's backing Boris, and also interesting to see there that Boris or bust slogan. Now that's interesting because some Conservative MPs haven't reacted well to that at all. Tim Loughton, one of those, going back to Mogg on this, saying, Jacob, how on earth can that slogan be remotely helpful to the party given the strong possibility the next PM will not be Boris? And you should really think this through properly if you have any interest in party unity. Now, at time of recording, the Guido Fawkes tally of MP supporters, and interesting to see further endorsements for Boris from Defence Secretary Ben Wallace, who has ruled himself outstanding and said he's leaning towards backing Boris, and Nadine Dorries, who has been speaking out, of course, in favour of a Boris Johnson return. So watch what these guys have to say and let me know what you make of that Mogg endorsement.
Well, I think it's really important to consider, for me, which candidate will recognise the very pressing security concerns that face this country at the time, that will take decisions to invest in defence and security. It's really important. Without national security, there is no economic security, and I think that is important that whoever are the candidates putting their names forward, they indicate that. But also at the same time, I have to recognise the issue of the mandate. This will be potentially our third Prime Minister since the general election of 2019. That means we have to think about that legitimacy question that the public will be asking themselves, and also about who could win the next election. That's obviously important for any political party at the time. So, at the moment, I would lean towards Boris Johnson. I think he will still have some questions to answer around, obviously, that investigation. But I know when I was Secretary of State for Defence, he invested in defence, he supported me, he supported the actions this country has taken to keep us safe. So that's, at the moment, I'm leaning towards that.
So I think we were 19 points behind, 20 points behind in the polls before Boris Johnson became Prime Minister. We were way up in the polls, won an 80-seat majority. I think we're back to being way down in the polls. We are back to being way down in the polls. Again, I don't know what they are today. So I think a lot of MPs will look at that and they will see that it wasn't just a phenomena, that a general election win, that Boris Johnson is a winner. And I think that will help a lot of those MPs, many who are new MPs in the 29 intake, many of them will maybe now realise that having a winner in place is what the party needs to survive and for what's best for the country moving forward.